Hi guys, welcome back to Vision Mix Studios and visionrecordingstudios.com. This is part 2 of the answer the subscribers questions. Go back and check out part 1 if you haven't seen it, where I've collected a bunch of questions that people send in to me all the time via email that I continually answer, and I decided let me make a couple of videos to answer those questions. And also to say happy holidays. It's December 2013, December 20th, so it's almost Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. Again, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, thank you for your support. We have 2,100 subscribers as of this morning, which is great. I'm hoping to double that in 2014. And again, send me your feedback. Send me in some more video ideas. What kind of content would you like me to create? I really want this to be about you. I want it to be about the subscribers. If there's a certain type of video or tutorial or teaching that you want me to create, just say the word. And if I have the ability or the knowledge to do it, I will certainly do it. The more participation we get, the more customized this channel can be. I feel that's just much more effective than just, again, putting up a video that shows you how I would process a kick drum, which 10,000 other YouTube video makers have already done. But if you wanted to see that and you guys wanted to see how I would process a kick drum, I will certainly make that video. But I just don't want to put up videos for the sake of putting up videos. I want to put them up that things that are really going to help my subscribers. And that's what this is. So if I get a lot of ideas and a lot of suggestions, there'll be more content. If I don't get as much, then there's not going to be as many videos, and I'll only do them as I feel it's something I come up with something that makes sense for you guys for me to teach you guys. So anyhow, the more feedback and the more suggestions you can give me, the better. So let's move on to the second part of this two-part answer the question series. So the next question that I got was, can I do some mixing videos in a DAW other than PreSonus Studio One? Which I thought that was interesting. Everyone that has been a subscriber of mine knows that I use PreSonus Studio One Pro. I think it's 2.6 as of the making of this video. And prior to that, I was a Pro Tools user for many years and also a Cubase user. I guess the answer to the question would be, yes, I can if you'd like me to. I'd be surprised if anyone wanted to see videos in Cubase 5, because that's the only version I have. I don't have Cubase 7 or 7.5. I think it's the latest version, and I have no plans to buy it. I really don't use it. That was the first DAW that I ever used when I got into computer recording was Cubase. I think it was SX1 or SX2. And then I went to SX3 and then to Cubase 5. And then once I left Cubase, I went to Pro Tools and since then Studio One. And I could do a whole video on why I took the path that I took and why I ended up at Studio One. I'm not going to bore you with that here. But the answer to the question is, if you'd like me to do some mixing videos in, say, Pro Tools, I have Pro Tools 10 and Pro Tools 11, I can. It really doesn't matter which, the videos that I create, the techniques that I'm teaching you, regardless of the DAW, the techniques apply. So it really doesn't matter. But if there's something, Pro Tools does do stuff different in Studio One in the way they route things, the way they create bus channels, and there is some things, they all do the same thing. So it doesn't matter which DAW you use, really. Which one's better, that's really up to you, the user. I'm not going to create a video on that now. If you want to know what I think about Studio One and why, I have a video, the 15 things that I like about Studio One. Go back and watch that. The DAW itself doesn't matter. The techniques that I apply will apply to any DAW. However, every DAW does things a little differently. So if you'd like to see me do a demonstration in, say, Pro Tools, I can do that. If you'd like to do a demonstration in Cubase 5, an older version of Cubase, I can do that too. Whatever you guys would like to see. So again, send me in. If that's something you guys want to see, shoot me an email, leave a comment below. And I'll do that if that's what you want. But yeah, so the answer to the question is sure. If you want me to do a video, let's say in Pro Tools 11, because that's a new latest and greatest DAW that's out, I will. I'm not as much of a fan of Pro Tools as I am Studio One, but I will certainly do that because I do use both programs. And the reason why I use both really is from more of a business point of view more than anything else. I have Pro Tools more because I need it for my business more than because I like to use it. I would much rather use Studio One. In all my personal music, I use Studio One. But I do use Pro Tools because a lot of clients that send me recording sessions for mixing projects, I mix projects for people all over the world, 9 out of 10 times it's a Pro Tools session. So I have to have Pro Tools. So I can use it. I do use it, but I prefer Studio One. So anyhow, if you want me to do a demonstration in some of the other DAWs, I certainly can. Just leave a comment below, send me an email. If I get enough of them, I will certainly do that. So hopefully that helps. Okay, cool. Next question. Do you use a Mac or a PC? And why did I pick one over the other? Well, I use a Mac. I've used a PC, but for the last 5 or 6 years, I use a Mac Pro from 2009, 2010. I have a Mac quad core, a 2.93 gigahertz processor with 32 gigs of RAM. So it's a pretty fast computer. It's not as fast as the newer ones that are coming out, but it works perfectly for me. I prefer Mac over PC. All my personal computers in my life are iMacs, MacBook Pros, iPads, iPhones. I'm an Apple guy. What can I say? I love Apple. I think they're, to me, in my experience, even in the business world, when I was, using PCs in corporate world before I was a full-time studio owner, PCs to me were much more unstable. The last version of PC that I used, Windows, was Windows Vista, which was a nightmare, and I used Windows XP. I haven't used Windows 7 or Windows 8. I hear their operating systems are a lot more stable. I don't know enough about them, but I know lots of guys that have PCs that do recording that have great luck with them. I've always been a Mac guy in the last 5 or 6 years, and I have no reason to go back. I think the operating systems are more stable. I've always had better luck with them, but again, Mac, PC, you can argue about that stuff all day long. There's just as many people that would say the same things I'm saying about Mac about a PC, but that's what I use. And if someone said to me, I don't have a computer yet and I'm going to buy a computer to do recording, what would I buy, a Mac or a PC? I would tell you a Mac. That's what I would say. But I'm sure you can ask some other people, they would say PC. Like my good friend Johnny over at the Home Studio Trainer does a massive amount of recording. He's a PC guy and he has great luck, great stability. I don't know what version of Windows he's using, but he's a PC guy, and he can argue with you as good or better than me about PC as I can about Mac. So it really doesn't matter, but that's what I use. So if you have any more questions about that, send them in. I can give you some more details, but I use a Mac Pro. Next question. When you write music for TV and film, what is your workflow and the gear that you use? Okay, so I think that means like, well, like I said in the last video, I write music for television and film. I'm pretty much a one-man band. I'm not a singer. If I have a track that I'm creating that needs vocals, I have some local singers that I work with that are partners of mine, but most of it's instrumental. And most of it's around the blues rock, classic rock, heavy rock vibe. That's kind of the music that I more specialize in. So my workflow is pretty straightforward, pretty much the same as writing your own personal music for your own CD. I mean, I create a drum track. I use, as I said in my last video, I use either TuneTrack's Easy Drummer or I use Stephen Slate SSD4 for drums. For guitar and bass, I play the guitar and bass. I don't use virtual instruments. For guitars, I have an array of different guitars, which maybe one day I'll show you. I have Les Pauls and Strats and Tellys, and I have a bunch of different guitars. Taylor Acoustic 6-string, 12-string. If I'm going for an electric guitar sound, I only have a couple of amps. I also use the Avid's 11 rack as my guitar processor, which I love. Which one day I'll do a review on that. Love that. It's the first guitar software type emulator that sounds like the real thing in my mind. And it's a great little box, and it's got a million different amps in there and a million different tones. But I also have a real Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, and also a Marshall tube head with a 412 cabinet. So I have a lot of guitar tones I can get. And that's kind of the gear that I use. So I lay down a drum track, come up with rhythm, riff ideas, and then build the track like you'd build any other song. And that's kind of what I do. And then if I need a vocalist, I bring somebody in. And if not, it's an instrumental piece. So that's kind of the gear that I use. So it's minimal. It's pretty straightforward. I don't do a lot of really I do a little bit of MIDI programming with drums and with keys, but very little. I don't have a big MIDI controller. I have a small MIDI controller. Most of the instruments I try to play live, and I try to play real instruments, with the exception of the drums, and that's just how I work. And that's the gear that I use. So if you have any more questions about that, you can ask me something specific, and I can either send you an email in response, or I can do a video on it. If I get enough questions, I can get more detail, but that's what I do. And the last question here is, what audio interface do I use and why did I choose it? Well, if you don't know, I use the PreSonus 16.4.2 Studio Live Mixer. And I'm a PreSonus hardware guy. I used also their their HP60 headphone amplifier. I used their AudioBox USB for recording these kinds of tutorial videos. But I used the PreSonus 1642 as my interface. Why did I pick it? Well, because I needed to have, because I record lots of bands with a full drum kit. I normally use 12 to 14 channels recording them simultaneously, so I needed something with 16 channels. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. I also use it as a, I don't play out as much as I used to, but in the day I used to take this out and I used to play live with it too. So I had an acoustic duo that I played with someone. We would go out and play, you know, small coffee houses and stuff. And I needed a mixer. So I love the fact that I could take it on the road. I can use it as an audio interface. And it's got, you know, if you don't know anything about it, go check it out on presonus.com, but it's got, you know, gates, compressors, EQs, reverb, delays. It's like an all-in-one box where you don't have to have a mixer and then a rack of outboard gear when you go play live. You have it all built into one box. And the other reason why I really like it is when I was playing live, to do live recording with it is a breeze. It's one FireWire cable out of the back of the PreSonus into my MacBook Pro laptop. And one button click, and I could be recording the gig live, all multi-tracked. And I did a video on that. If you go back and look at my archives, the video software that they use is called Capture. PreSonus Capture. Captures the live recording, and you bring it back, import it into Studio One or any DAW that you use, and you can mix the track or the set. Works beautifully. In the studio, what I really like about it is on the 1642, they have 6 aux sends. If you're using it in a live setting, that would be used for 6 different monitor mixes, 6 different floor wedges on stage, or 3 pairs of in-ears, stereo in-ear monitors. And in the studio, I use that in conjunction with the HP60, which is a 6-channel headphone amplifier. So now what I can do in my studio is if I have 6 people playing at the same time, everyone can have a completely independent headphone mix from the other person without having to do it in software, which is great. So that's the audio interface that I use, and that's why I chose it. So that is it for today. All the questions here. This is a little bit shorter video, part 2. Again, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, thank you for your support. Please like, please share these videos. Again, sending your ideas. If you have any questions, visionrecordingstudios@yahoo.com. Happy holidays, everyone. December 2013. Regardless of what you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you and your family celebrates, happy holidays to you. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2014. Keep sending your ideas, your suggestions, and I will continue to try to make the best content I can for you to hopefully help you make better music in your studio. So until next time, see you guys later.